What an amazing and special treat. Thank you very much to the Juneau Dance Theater. Now we're going to, in our flexible agenda tonight, we're going to do something very important that we're really honored to be a part of every Innovation Summit, and that is to recognize the Innovators Hall of Fame. And I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Brian Smetkowski, the Vice President and Chief Academic Officer of the University of Alaska. He's an accomplished leader and scholar in the fields of political science and educational development. Since 1993, he has taught and led strategic academic initiatives at numerous institutions, including, and most recently, the University of Idaho. A former editor of To Improve the Academy, he's a strong supporter and creator of post-secondary educational opportunities that improve the learning and the lives of all students and the communities and economies they serve. He is recently hired at the University of Alaska, been here, I believe, about a month. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Smetkowski to the stage.
Good evening, how you doing? Good. I want to say right out of the gate that it's a pleasure to join you here to recognize excellence and innovation in the state of Alaska, a state that officially became home to me exactly 1 month ago today. So obviously I know all things. I do not know all things, but I'm learning many things, and I want to begin with gratitude. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge everybody who's here this evening. But my trip here, my first to Juneau, has really been enriched by the time that I spent with Chancellor Palmer, who couldn't be here this evening, and her Vice Chancellor, Lori Klein. If you ever need a world-class campus community tour, talk to Lori Klein. She did something that so few people actually pull off. She represented in authentic and genuine terms what a true partnership between a campus and a community could look like. And in so doing, she helped me get into and experience and see and feel with every step and every word the learning spaces and places where current and future innovations occur. So my gratitude to all of the wonderful people at the University of Alaska Southeast. I cannot overstate my gratitude to all of them and to everyone that's been a part of this particular event. I want to thank my colleagues, Brian Holst, the Executive Director of the Juneau Economic Development Council, members of the State Committee on Research, and my co-chair, the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom, for all the work leading up to this event, and to all of you for seeing and supporting and celebrating innovative research and researchers that drive economic growth and development. In 2014, SCORE created the Alaska Innovators Hall of Fame to celebrate and honor outstanding individuals who put Alaska on a map as leaders in innovation and contribute to Alaska's growing culture of innovation. This extends to historic inventions and innovations that are not uniquely attributable to a single person, but to a community of persons. Likewise, it recognizes and celebrates inventions that are not just timely, but are in fact, as we'll learn momentarily, timeless. I'm honored to continue this tradition of recognition by conferring this year's award to Alaska Heritage Center for the historic invention of the gut seal parka. In a few minutes, Tiffany Tukiakoff will be receiving the award on behalf of the center, who in turn represents multiple indigenous groups in Alaska that have preserved and shared an innovation that's rich in history, tradition, and contemporary importance. In her letter of support for this award, Dr. Ellen Carley, conservator of the Alaska State Museum and a scholar of Native materials, and a person who has collaborated with dozens of Alaska Native artists and culture bearers, elegantly linked the historical practices of Alaska Native peoples to the tangible impact of innovation that we celebrate tonight. Gut garments and the specialized stitching techniques that bind them allowed survival, and it provides a direct connection to indigenous traditions and beliefs. The technique itself represents an act of cultural resilience that extends beyond clothing and to cultural heritage. It links the people and the past to the present and the future. As noted in the application packet, an Imarnan might appear strange to modern eyes. The thin, translucent material appears brittle and delicate. It might look like a poor alternative to today's high-tech synthetic rain gear. To some people, a garment from animal innards might even seem grotesque. But a closer examination of this ancient technology gives a glimpse of remarkable indigenous ingenuity. The pattern, seaming, stitching, and decoration of a gut parka are also clues to its cultural attribution. They also represent a tangible impact on the quality of life and the welfare of the people of Alaska. Like a good researcher, the more I learned about this, the more I wanted to learn and appreciate. An award of this caliber is designed to elicit exactly that kind of response, a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity. And with that, it is with the highest level of respect, admiration, and gratitude that I concur with the SCORE Selection Committee in its decision to recognize the Gut Seal Parker for induction in the 2025 class of the Alaska Innovators Hall of Fame. Tiffany, if you could please join me, that would be awesome. The podium is yours.
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Tiffany Tudiakoff. I am Dena'ina and Yupik. I'm originally from Alexander Creek, which is about 23 miles northwest of Anchorage, at the bottom of Mount Susitna, or Sleeping Lady. I am okay. I actually don't have the clicker. Sorry, I don't know. I did not get checked out on advancing the slides. Green. The big one. Okay, awesome. So back to what I was saying. I am vice chair of the board for the Alaska Native Heritage Center. I also own Future Elder, which is a full-service brand marketing and communications firm. We've been in business for about 22 years, or I've owned it for 10 years. We've been in business for about 22 years, formerly known as Northwest Strategies. And so my role here today is to thank you for this recognition on behalf of the Alaska Native Heritage Center. Just catch up here. I didn't create these slides, so I'm not going to read the bullet points, don't worry, but I will give you a little bit of background on the Alaska Native Heritage Center for those of you who have not visited. The Alaska Native Heritage Center is the only statewide living cultural institution dedicating to advancing all Alaska Native cultures. We are guests on the native village of Eklutna, on the land of native village of Eklutna, situated in the traditional territory of the Dena'ina Athabascans. The Heritage Center is a gift to our local community where locals and visitors alike can experience our cultures and traditions and learn about our history. What's more, it's a gathering space for Alaskans to connect and find strength and resiliency in the power of our shared values and ways of life. You can see this progressively gets a little bit more wordy. So, seal gut parka. While Alaska Native peoples have countless innovations, this one in particular is so incredibly notable. The seal gut parka is a flexible, lightweight, packable garment that keeps the elements at bay, keeping you dry, warm, and ready to take on challenging environmental conditions. The materials utilized for these garments derive from animals whose inner organs are readily available in the Arctic, such as the bearded seal, walrus, bear, northern fur seal, stellar sea lion, Dall sheep, and beluga whale. So while the seal gut parka is actually pretty well known, we actually utilize intestines from a number of different land and sea animals. Gut clothing and other utilities made from animal intestines have been integral to the survival for many of our coastal cultural groups. Oops, back. There we go. While the production of these materials have been in decline for many years, primarily due to colonization, the practice and use is being actively revitalized. As an embodiment of a deep connection between people and the environment, gut sewing deserves recognition for its role in maintaining cultural practices that link generations. In closing, while I did not wear a seal gut parka this evening, I can attest to our commitment to never waste any part of an animal. Today I'm wearing a sparkly seal gut earrings made by wonderful Unangan Koyakan and Inupiaq artist Danielle Larson, proof that even the stuff left on the cutting room floor has a purpose. Kuyana, thank you for this award. We really appreciate it.
We didn't get the picture, and now we're going to get the picture. Okay?
That's good. Well, exciting. We are tallying the votes, and we are very close to announcing the winner, which we promise we will do before 8 o'clock. But we have an opportunity here to get a little update from the legislature. We have a friend of economic development, a friend of innovation that recently ran for office and was successful. I'm really pleased that we have all Alaskans, but especially those that are focused on economic development, have a strong friend in the legislature now in Representative Kai Holland. So we've asked Kai Holland to give us a brief update while the judges finish their tallying. So please give a warm welcome to Representative Holland.
Well, good evening. Am I on here? Thank you. So good evening. I'm Kai Holland. I'm from House District 9. This is the area in South Anchorage, the hillside area that would include the area, if you're familiar with the Flat Top Trailhead, Glen Alps. It also goes north to Basher, but then heads south to Bear Valley, the Rabbit Creek area, and then down to Whittier, and covers a really interesting district that I grew up in originally. A year ago, I was here with the Innovation Summit. I had no idea that I would be doing something like this and coming back on the other side of the table to do this work. But I do want to start off and begin with kind of one main job I need to do at the moment, which is one of the activities that we do each year with the innovation ecosystem is we have a meeting usually right before the Innovation Summit to talk about when we'll be doing the Entrepreneurship Week each fall and use that as a kickoff and use this event as a time to save the date. So we did have a meeting this morning at our 1 Million Cups. The Entrepreneurship Week this year will be moved up 1 week to the last week of September. I think it's the 29th through October 2nd or 3rd at this fall. Entrepreneurship Week, sometimes in the past referred to as Startup Week, is really the kickoff of our startup ecosystem programs. We help use the week, which usually has close to 60 events. We've had more in the past to bring together people from around the state in their local communities, but in events that help build up the startup ecosystem. And this fall's program will be like the past, where we'll be looking for leaders in different communities. Usually we've had 10 or 12 communities that have a program there. And we begin to help entrepreneurs, people like Gabriel that you saw a little bit ago, and others that have a dream, have an idea, and we help them learn about the different tools and programs that are available for them to take those ideas to me, it's really, important to recognize that what we see going on tonight is an example of entrepreneurs who really are taking a passion and interest and turning that into a business. We didn't hear tonight about business plans. We didn't hear about banks. We didn't hear about investors. What you saw tonight are people that are trying to solve a problem. They're trying to develop a solution and validate it, and it's a great opportunity. So with that, please do keep that in mind for the last week of September. If you're looking for more calendar information about events, the calendar that we have at Alaska version 3 or AKV3 provides a Google startup calendar where you can find out about all these events. And I just want to make one more shout out. You heard it earlier mentioned about 1 Million Cups, which happens every Wednesday at 10 a.m. This program's been going on for about 12 years. It's one of our front doors to people that are trying to figure out, I've got an idea, what do I do next? And we create a platform. It's hybrid now with both meetings in Anchorage as well as online for people to be able to share their idea in a couple of minutes and learn about resources, connections, and help to take our next step. So the legislature, I'll take just a moment to talk about this. It is fundamentally this work I've been doing for 10 years that ultimately got me interested in running for the legislature. There's certainly some key issues that kind of kicked my butt and said I'd better look at this in terms of education, benefits, the Cook Inlet energy issues. But at the end of the day, I decided that the thing that was going to get me into this race and that was going to make me motivated to do well in this was the opportunity to help take the question I started asking about 4 years ago, what's next, Alaska? And ask that question in more venues and encourage more people to think about what is next. And that question motivated me, it motivated hundreds of people over the last 4.5 years to dig into what is our next economy going to look like? What are we going to do to create the opportunities, the jobs, the businesses that will keep our young people here, that will be the growth opportunities in the future? And for those of us that are here tonight and seeing these companies, it's easy to see what's next. You're seeing companies that are coming up with bold solutions to creating new economic opportunity, both in rural Alaska and urban Alaska. You're seeing companies that are creating solutions in Alaska that have purpose and value across the world. And we keep showing this over and over again. I'm excited about what is happening in Alaska and what we can be doing. Sometimes we talk about entrepreneurship and it's about, can we get something started? And my main point is always, we don't have to start this. We need to fuel it and accelerate it. So I got into this election, and the work I'm doing in the legislature is fundamentally in everything I do around the question of how are we creating new innovation opportunities for Alaskans. If we're working with the marine systems for pollution control in the cruise ships, I'm looking for how do Alaskans build those sensors and do that monitoring. If we're looking at contracts for marketing of our seafood, I'm asking how are Alaskans doing that work. If we're looking at our energy problems and renewables, I'm asking how are we creating Alaskan business opportunities for that. So I'll be continuing to do that. I sit on a couple different committees, but the main bills I'm working on right now are fundamentally looking at how do we build the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Alaska, how do we build the innovation support in Alaska, so that that question about what's next Alaska is one that we have an answer to and the one that we're excited and motivated to move into that future that we have. So I'd love to dive into the weeds, but I think the judges are back. So I think it's time for me to let that drum roll begin to find out who won tonight. Thank you all for a few minutes of your time. Please do reach out. Jacqueline Summers is also here waving her hand. She's been helping with a lot of the Alaska version 3 work. If you're interested in connecting with us and learning more about our programs, she's a resource. But you can also contact me through the legislature at Kai Holland, representative for House District 9. Love to get your feedback and help on what we can do to strengthen the ecosystem for startups. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Holland. Let's get our contestants up here, please, on the stage. We have the results are in, and we're going to do this before on time. On time, yes, that's what we're going to do. I guess it's my chance to I also want to thank Alaska Airlines for sponsoring this. Casey Hostetler, who always is with us, was ill today. Yesterday we learned that. And I just want a big shout out to Huckleberry, who wasn't going to MC, but did an outstanding job of MCing this event. So thank you, Huckleberry. Yes.
This is all you. You started us out, you started us off.
All right. So we have two categories. We have the people's choice and the judge's choice. And since I'm a guy of the people, I'm going to announce that award. And we can all hold in our own minds which award we think is more important. Because this year, the people and the judges, well, maybe I won't say that. I'll just wait till I don't want to give anything away. So I would just say the People's Choice Award goes to Swoop.
Okie doke. Now, the Judge's Choice Award is, drum roll please, Remote Hands. Woo! Bravo. Nice job, guys. And an excellent job to all of the entrepreneurs, and thank you for you all coming tonight. Let's take a photo and then let's call it a night, shall we? Cheers. Bravo. Thanks, everybody.